Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches NIDAH Lamed. We begin at the Mishnah, which is around 8 lines from the bottom. Hamapilos, an Isha miscarries L'yom Mem on day 40. Rashi says L'yom Mem L'tfilah, say from the time of Tfilah. It's been 40 days since they've been together. It's still too early. It hasn't yet, whatever is there hasn't yet achieved minimal development to be considered something of status. And therefore, if she miscarries this undeveloped entity, she need not be concerned about it. Avlad, she's not considered a birther. And there's no requirement to count Yimei Tumah, followed by Yimei Tahara. But if it's L'yom Aleph, the next day, day 41, so it's already been 40 days. Apparently we're just reckoning days, not necessarily hours or minutes, but if it's already day 41, so now we have the fetus arriving at some preliminary stage of completeness. Once it's gotten to that point, he has halachic status as a fetus, and she's considered a birther, a yoledis. But since she doesn't know what it was, for instance, she went through a nohar, like we had yesterday, right? She went through a body of water and she got washed away. So we have 3 options. Either it was a zachar, which necessitates a week of Yimei Tumah followed by 33 Yimei Tahara, or perhaps an Akeva. So it's 14 and 66. Or maybe it had no status, it was just an empty pouch. It was none of the above. In which case, if she has dam today, she's a plain NIDAH. That's the answer. She has to account for possibilities. Teisha, she has to count l'zachar, l'nekeva, l'NIDAH. So according to Tanakama, this 40-day requirement applies equally to Zachar or Nekeva. It's not gender specific. Either way, Zachar and Nekeva require 40 days to arrive at that initial stage of development. Rabbi Shmuel disagrees. He says a Nekeva requires double the amount of time to get to that point. Rabbi Shmuel Eimer, Yom Aleph, if it's day 41, it could be a Zachar, Teishev l'Zachar, or nothing, lo NIDAH. But there's no possibility of Nekeva, because she's still a little early, too premature for the Nekeva. Yom Pei Aleph, but once you're at day 81, so you're past 80 full days. Teishev l'Zachar, Nekeva, l'NIDAH. In this case, all 3 options would apply equally. So in this case, we include the Nekeva into the equation. Why? Shazachar nigmal me'malaf. It takes 41 for the Zachar to complete, meaning 40 complete days. But Nekeva l'pei Aleph, and Nekeva requires double the amount of time. So it's 81 after a complete 80. No, we disagree. Echad brias hazachar, ve'echad brias Nekeva. The formation of either Zachar and Nekeva take on equal time. Zev Mem Aleph take 41. Now the question is, why in the beginning of the Mishnah we discussed all the different possibilities? Zachar, Nekeva, NIDAH. Now NIDAH indicates that perhaps there was no blood at all. So once we account for that possibility, meaning we don't give her Yimei Tahara, only the Yimei Tumah of the Nekeva, which is longer than the Zachar, it's a 2-week Yimei Tumah, and that stops right there. She doesn't get Yimei Tahara because perhaps there was no blood at all. She never gave birth. So the question is, why do we even discuss Zachar, who's a shorter time frame, whose time frame is sort of swallowed into the time frame, it's absorbed into the Nekeva count. So why bother relating to that factor? Lamoska Zachar, Ilimei Tumah. Is it to grant her the 7 days of Tumah on account of Zachar? Well, that's already absorbed in the 2 weeks Tumah of the Nekeva, which you're accounting for. Is it in order that we know that she gets only a shorter span of Yimei Tahara, where if she sees Dam, she's not affected, she's Tahar, Well, she's not going to get that in any case, because maybe she never gave birth at all. Return Talmud Bavli. Haktani NIDAH, once it says NIDAH, that indicates that we have to account for a non-birth, which preempts any Yimei Tahara. So what's the advantage to reckoning for the Zachar? Answers the Gemara, there is a difference. The fact that we mentioned the Zachar puts her at another disadvantage as well. So we do have to account for a Zachar with his Yimei Tahara, which end at day 40. Now how could that come into play? Shem Tira Yom Lamed Aleph. Let's say she has Dam Yom Lamed Al day 34. V'tachser V'tira Yom Mem Ve'echad. And another experience at day 41. Teimikul Kalat Adam Ches has to wait until day 48 to be Taival. Why is that? Because on the chance that there was no Vlad, so day 34 is just a plain NIDAH experience. 7 days later, she's Taival. Suppose she continues on and sees again on day 41, again assuming there was no Vlad at all. Day 41 is really day 8, since she started the NIDAH experience. And day 8 is considered the Yom of Ziva, right? After 7 days of NIDAH, you go into the transition to the time frame of Imei Ziva, where she sees Dam just one day. She has to wait just one more day, that the following day, keep it clean, and then she's Taival the next day. That's all good and well if there was no Vlad to speak of. So day 34 isn't really day 34, it's just a random day. Imei NIDAH triggers a 7-day wait. 8 days later, which is 41 allegedly, would be considered the first day of Ziva, which necessitates just a 1-day count, and she's Taival the next day. But since we have to consider that perhaps she was a Yoledes Zachar, whose count extends until day 40 inclusive. So what happened day 34 is irrelevant. It was during the Yimei Tahara period, where we don't reckon with Dam. So you discount that experience. And now when she sees in day 41, it's a fresh experience, brand new. It's after she completed the 40 of the Zachar. Now she's on her own. So it's just a single Riyah. Considered a Riyah of NIDAH now. Brand new experience, which takes her for another 7 days. And she could only be Taival at the night following 48. So you see how adding the Zachar into the equation, factoring for the possibility of a Leidas Zachar, complicates things a bit further. And that's why the Mishnah mentioned it. And the same exact factor would apply by reckoning for the Nekeva as well. Except instead of dealing with what happens at the end of the 40, we have to deal with what happens at the end of the 80, which is her finish line. V'chein Linyan Nekeva, likewise, factoring for the Nekeva triggers the same calculation. Shem Tira Yom Ayin Dalet. So it's an 80-day count. She sees something on day 74. V'tachsar V'tira Yom Pe'alaf. Then again on day 81. So if there would be no birth, day 81 is the first day of Ziva, which ties her down for just 1 day. But on the chance that there was a Nekeva birth, whose count continues up until day 80, including, so day 81 is a brand new experience of NIDAH, for which she has to wait another 7 days. She has to wait around Ad Peches. Okay, now back to that Machlekes in the Mishnah. How long does it take for the initial, formation of the Zachar? 40. Nekeva, Chacham say 40. Rabbi Shmuel says 80. Now for the Machlekes. Now for the explanation. Tanya, Rabbi Shmuel Eimer. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how I get a Nekeva to 80. Timei v'tiyeh v'zachar. The count comprised of Yimei Tumah, followed by Yimei Tahara by the Zachar, is a 40-day count. V'timei v'tiyeh b'Nekeva. Likewise, we have a system by the Nekeva, which is 80 days. Let's assume that the post-Leda experience corresponds to the time frame of formation. That's how he learns. There's a correlation. Must be some connection. Perhaps the more complex, the longer it takes to form, the longer it takes to cleanse from that experience. In any case, there's some sort of correlation, says Rabbi Shmuel. And therefore, just like by the Zachar, we find that the numbers are right on. The days of Tumah and Tahara, which is 40, corresponds perfectly to the time of Yitzira, which is 40. Right? So we find that the Yitzira corresponds to the Tumah and Tahara by the Zachar, likewise by the Nekeva. Af, Kshatimah V'Tira B'Nekeva. Yitzira, so Yitzira, likewise. Let's assume by the Nekeva. The formation stage corresponds to the Tumah and Tahara. Just like that's 80, this is also 80. Amr Loi Chacham respond. Who says to match these two things up? Who says they're connected? Who says they're related? Ein L'meidim, we can't learn Yitzira from Mitumah. Amr Loi Rabbi Shmuel. We'll prove our point. But in fact, the 40-day count is not gender specific. That even a nekeva requires 40 days to form and no more. There was a story where they did this scientific experiment. Masa Bakli Oftara. She was a queen. The queen of Alexander, the Greek ruler, Malkas, the queen of Alexandria. So happens that she had some maidservants who were condemned to death. So they took advantage. Then they made some sort of experiment. Ubatkan. So they mated them, and they wanted to discern analyze the formation process of the fetus. And turns out that they opened them up. Matzon Zelazel Mamalf. They discovered in this one a Zachar, this one a Nekeva. And at day 41, they were both had reached their initial stage of formation. That proves our position is correct, says the Rabbanan. That either way it's 40. Amarlen, Rabbi Shmuel responds, Ani mevi lechem raya min ha-Torah. Look, in contrast to myself, who's bringing to you a raya from the Torah, v'atem mevi'in li raya min ha-shoitim. You're proving to me from fools? Why was it a foolish experiment? We'll see soon. Now, what was he referring to? The raya from the Torah. My raya min ha-Torah. Ilaim, was it what he just said, that the correlation between the formation and the meitumah v'tahara? Ilaim mitimah v'tira zachar, v'timah v'tira nekeva v'chulu, like he said before. They already refuted that. How Carmeli, they told them, we're not accepting that. Ain't done in yitzira mitumah. Why should we compare yitzira from to tumah? The answer is he had a pasuk amakra teled. When the pasuk speaks about a nekeva, it says nekeva teled. Obviously, we're talking about birthing. Because that's what the psukim are talking about. She gave birth to a zachar, and then it says, right? So then it says, "Mkeva teled." What's the add-on teled? That it's a more complex, lengthy formation process. Hoisef lo hakosav ledacheres b'nekeva. The Torah added another time frame, basically extended, doubled the 40 into 80. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. And you're bringing me a raya from the fools. Why was it such a foolish raya? They seem to have the facts down packed. They worked it out. They experimented it. And these were the results. Or my raya min ha-shoitim. The answer is like this. True. You open them both up, you find the zach here and the kibbeh here. 40 days after the fact. After which fact? You think she conceived when you thought. Maybe she had already conceived 40 days before that. Before you engaged in your experiment. So you'll never know how old that nekeva really is. Maybe she's really 80 days old. And they respond, no, sama de naftza ashkinu. They gave them this medicine, this potion that expelled, that cleansed out the system. So they started both, with a clean slate, and that it's only 40 days old. Rabbi Shmuel, he says, no, you can go for limikabel sama. Who says that every person is prone to the effects of this medicine? So it can very well be that the woman carrying the nekeva fetus was already on it 40 days before. The zachar. Amalan Rabbi Shmuel. Now it's Rabbi Shmuel's turn to prove his point. Interestingly, he referred to the same royal household of Alexandria. Maybe it was even the same story, but his version was exactly the opposite. Maisa b'kalaftera, it sounds like the same person. Malkas Yavanis, this Greek queen. Shenis chayvu shivchoisei rigel malchus. So she had some maid servants that were condemned, and they decided to take advantage and do an experiment with them. Ubatkan, and what did they discover? So they arranged that one will mate 40 days before the other, and in fact, they found like this. Umatzan zachar la'arboim ve'echad nekeva l'peyalef. They discovered that the one that made it earlier, so her fetus was in a nekeva for 81. But the other one with the more recent mating was only 40 days. Now it's a zachar. So that proves that the nekeva's time is double. Amr Loi. Now the Rabbanan responded to him, don't bring right from the fools. Doesn't prove anything. Why? My time, it's true that you think, based on your experiment, that the nekeva had conceived 40 days before the other one, and therefore her fetus is 80 days. Oh no, maybe Iyatra. She lingered. She did not become expectant at that early point 80 days ago. Maybe she lingered and she made it again 40 days ago. So both women conceived at the same time. Rabbi Shmuel would say, L'shem Masrinu. No, they were under heavy guard. Nobody was interacting with them in the interim. So it was a very controlled, definite experiment. V'Rabbanan respond, you never know. When it comes to these matters, you can't rely on anybody. Maybe the guard himself was involved with her in the interim. So this fetus is really a young fetus, only 40 days old. Ein apotropos. There's no guarantee. There's no guarding when it comes to l'arayos. Amar, we can say shemer gufe. The guard himself got involved with her ba'aleh. Okay, now just one more question. Rabbi Shmuel, according to his version, so the woman carrying the nekeva had already made it 80 days ago. And now that we discover the nekeva after 80 days, and after 40 days, so we see that this one takes longer. How do we know? But perhaps, ikaru, if they would have opened up the nekeva carrying woman, lahach, the nekeva, way back on day 41 since her conception, she would have been fully formed as well. So how do you know it takes 80 days? Maybe she would have looked this way 40 days ago too. She would have been appearing exactly like the zachar fetus. Amar Abaye b'simanei and shavin. Take a close look at the both fetuses. You see that the nekeva was more developed, more advanced. Sorry, the nekeva was exactly like the zachar, was not more advanced, and that's impossible if she's 40 days older. Rashi says the hair, the limbs, the nails, so they both gave the same presentation, despite the fact that she had been there 80 days, and this one, he was only there 40 days. That proves my point that Rishmal, that the nekeva takes twice as long as the zachar. So back to the Mishnah, Chacham come back and say, no, the number 40 is relates equally to all genders. Now, hasn't the Tanakama already told us that? And what's the point of the repetition in the Mishnah? Perhaps the point of repeating is Lemistama Reisha Karabanan. So that now we know that the Tanakama, the first Shita, is really reflective of the multitudes of the Chachamim, the Rabbim, and that's why the Mishnah reiterated it, emphasized that it's really Shitas Chachamim, and this way you know it's the Rabbim against Rabbi Shmuel, so you have V'yachad V'Rabbim, individual against the majority, Halach Rabbim. Maybe that's the point of repeating it. Pshita says the more, of course. If Rabbi HaKadosh, who compiled the Mishnayos, presented the initial Shita without a name, and we don't have any other reference to a personal Shita in that regard, so we assume it's the Rabbim. It's the consensus view, and of course we would say, well, the Yachid against the Ram, we pass like the Ram. There's no need to re-emphasize it. Perhaps there's room to think this is different. And that necessitated its emphasis. Why? Mistavra time with Rabbi Shmuel, maybe we'd have to go to Rabbi Shmuel, it's more plausible. because he has the raya from the the psukim there from the Talmud, right? Kamashwan, the point is no. Nevertheless, we insist that the day 40 is an equal number, irrespective of gender. Darash Rabbi Simla, it comes an interesting Gemara describing the sublime experience of the unborn fetus. The most beautiful moment. Gemara's going to say later, he's experiencing bliss, total bliss in there. Learning with the Malach, Kalatara Kula, he sees everything. He's flying high before he comes down and faces reality and the challenges, the opportunities that Hashem gives us in this world. Darash Rabbi Simla. This was amazing, X-ray vision. The time of Chazal, before we had ultrasounds and X-rays, they had their own X-ray vision. Let me tell you what it looks like in there. If you ever wonder, ever curious what the Vlad appears like inside his mother. Lepinkas, like a pad, like a writing pad. So they used to have these boards smeared with wax, which they would fold. So he's a folded entity. He's folded up like a sandwich. Shemekupol umunach. So he's folded up in there and resting as follows. Yadav al shtei tzdav. His hands by his temples. Shtei atzilov al beis arkavaisav. So arkavaisav are his knees. They're tucked beneath the elbow area, elbow armpit area. Ubeis akevav. And his two heels are folded under where you sit, al beis arkavaisav. V'roishen, his head, munach lebein virkav. His head is lying between his knees. And Ibn Yad explains that this configuration, the way he's lying, mind over body, head over heels, to symbolize, to remind him of the winning formula. When he's born, eventually, let your mind run the show, let your seichel control your guf, and you'll be a winner. So this is the way he's lying there. Upiv sasam, his mouth is shut. Tabur pesuach, his stomach is open. Right? It's connected to his mother with the cord. Va'oichel, and he eats. Mimashi mechelas, from his mother's food. The shoyse, and drinks. Mimashi shoyse, from what his mother drinks. Ve'ena mitzerei, doesn't expel waste. There's nowhere to go. Shem yargas imu, can kill his mother. Ve'chimash yatzla v'ra'olam, once he's born, comes into this wide world. Niftach hasasam, Hashem miraculously switches the system. There's a simultaneous transition. What was shut, meaning his mouth, suddenly opens. V'nistam pesuach, what was open, his stomach suddenly shuts down. Shemole, because otherwise, Shemole he can't survive even for a moment. In fact, the Torah says that this is where we get the nusach of the bracha asher yatzar. Right, the system has to work so perfectly in sync, and with such a seamless transition. While it's still in there, a ner is lit over his head, an expression meaning his neshama is resting on his head, and not yet constrained by the constraints of the physical environment of his guf and of Eilam Hazeh. So explains the Maharal, which gives him unlimited vision. He has a wide-angle view. You can peer, you can see everything from beginning to end of the world. This is Eev speaking, describing this pre-birth experience. When Hashem's light was over my head, in case you're wondering, how's it possible to have this, all-encompassing vision? Shari Adam Yashin Khan, look, it's the body that constrains. But when a person experiences an unconstrained experience, like when he's sleeping, where his neshama somewhat is released, is relieved of the constraints of the guf, so you can dream anything, anywhere, anytime, unlimited views. Shari Adam Yashin Khan, right? He's unlimited by time and space. He's sleeping here and he's dreaming about what's going on in China. It's only when the neshama is put into the guf where it gets sort of restricted and constrained, in which case it has to abide by the physical, by the rules of the physical. But otherwise, before that, the neshama is chelak kamimal, unlimited. Can see everything, can understand, can learn the whole Torah. If you're wondering what the best days are, those are the best days. There are no better days. Sh'adam sher b'teva. No better days than that. Yoiser, greater mois nayam than those days. Shenamar. Again, this is Eev speaking. Meet neni. I wish I can go back to that beautiful experience. Mitneni, kiyarchi keden, like those early months. Kimei Elokai Yishmereni, it was just me and Hashem. Learning Bechavrusa, right? So how do we know he's referring to that period? Because he's speaking about a period which only has months. Now, which stage of life only has months? Apparently, we're talking about the pre-birth stage. While still in the mother. What do you have a time, just months, without years? The conclusion is, Elu, these are 9 months of pregnancy. And while he's in there, he learns everything. Everything. Hashem tells me, let my word support your heart. Take it in. You have another pasuk. Hashem's wisdom, Hashem's secrets is hovering in my tent, over me, protecting me, surrounding me. What's the point of this? What's the second pasuk adding? Perhaps you can misunderstand the first pasuk as just an expression of Shlomo HaMelech, describing how he taught David HaMelech, his son, Torah. It's a pasuk in Mishlei, so maybe it's just the Navi, the prophet Shlomo, speaking about his experience with David HaMelech, rather than Hashem teaching every neshama tashma. That's why we confirm it with the second pasuk. We say the Lakah, Hashem's soid alei ahali. And Farshim try to figure out what's the benefit of learning Kol HaTorah Kula. In any case, we're going to see in a minute, he loses everything, pretty much. He forgets everything. What's the point of having that long Seder, 9-month Seder, going through the whole Shas and everything? So the Vilna Gaon and many others explain in a similar fashion that really the Torah is beyond our reach of understanding, but once we get that initial experience with the Torah, Hashem embeds us with the Torah. So even though practically it would seem like we forgot it, but really it's easier the second time around. We already have connection to it, we already relate to it. It's already embedded within us. It's just a matter of reviewing it. So everything we learned today is not new. It's Chazara from what we learned back in the day with the Malach. Okay, what happens then? Once he enters this big wide world, the Malach comes and gives him a tap on his mouth, and the Maral explains it means that he pushes the neshama, the neshama back into pushes the neshama into the guf. Sorry, the Chasam Sofer explains. Right, it was the ner was the neshama over the guf. Now Malach comes and squeezes the neshama into the constraints of the guf, and that's what makes him forget. Umeshachai kol HaTorah kula. That's what makes him forget the Torah, because now he's got a new set of rules. He has to come to it on his own, while inside the physicality of the guf. That's his opportunity. That's his mission. And that's his destiny. So Maral explains again that the point of forgetting. Why is he forgetting the Torah? Because now once he's in the guf, the neshama loses that freedom, that unconstrainedness, and he's bound by the rules of the guf, which needs to come to it on his own. Got to learn kamatz alafah, kamatz beizbah, until he hopefully gets back to that same level that he had in the pre-birth days, except at this time it's self-made. It's true shleimus, self-made, which earns him a beautiful self-earned abode in Olam Haba. Shneimar lePesach chatas roivos, the chat Yitzhara is waiting at the opening, where he's confronted, right? He's confronted with all the physicalities and the nisyonos and the challenges and opportunities generated by this Yitzhara. But one more thing before he departs, before he enters the world, he has to pledge allegiance. He's not going to leave there until they impose a shvu on him. They make him swear. I'll be a good boy. What does this mean? Bowing first to the Yamisa, the culmination of the life experience. So that's the destination. Keep in mind. It's just a temporary opportunity. That's the end game. right? Yom Misa. So be careful now. Tishava Kol Lashem. They impose on him a shvuah, a malida, when he's born, to do what's right, to fulfill his destiny, to bring out his potential. Shnemar. Where do we find a raya that there is a swearing going on when he's born? Shnemar Nekich Hapayim Alevav. It's a pasuk. In a very grand way, praises a person. He didn't swear falsely. Now, why is that a big deal? I mean, it's a great thing not to swear falsely, but why are we praising him to such extent? The point is, we're not just speaking about a plain everyday shvuah. We're talking about that initial commitment that was imposed on him, that he accepted. If a person abides by that and kept to it, he carried out his mission, fulfilled his destiny. What greater accomplishment, what greater praise. And what do they tell him? What are the words of the shvuah? They tell him very simply, be a tzaddik. That's all. Simple as that. Be a tzaddik. And they repeat, Val ti Rasha, don't be a Rasha. The Baal Tanya asked the obvious, what's the point of repeat? Obviously, if he's a tzaddik, he's not going to be a Rasha. And the shvuah continues, Afilu kol elam kuloi. And don't get flattered, don't get impressed by people who may look up to you and praise you and hold you in high regard, but you know yourself where you're holding. And always stay true to your true feelings. And keep on trucking, keep on going. Everybody in the world tells you, oh, the biggest tzaddik, not tzaddik. Stay true to yourself. Know your place. And know where you have to go. In your eyes, you should view yourself as a Rasha. That doesn't mean, of course, that he should look down on himself. Mishnah Pirkei Avos says, right? Alti Rasha pnei atzmecha. A person should never label himself as a Rasha. Baal Tanya explains. It just means to say that even in reality, he's a tzaddik. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. Learns as much as he could, davens the best that he could, does mitzvahs, does chesed. Nevertheless, when the Gemara refers to the tzaddik title, we're talking about an internally consistent tzaddik. Where's your heart? Right? So it's not just about thoughts, words, and actions. Those are very important. Extremely important, but there's more than that. A person has to seek to develop his ava, his feelings to Hashem, so that his externals, his behavior, matches and is consistent with his internal feelings. The person reaches that. That's the highest level of tzaddik. The person has to strive to that. That's what the Baal Tanya explains. Tzaddik v'ati Rasha, different levels of tzaddik. Right? So try for the highest. Aim for the clouds. Aim for the stars. But at least v'ati Rasha. At least at a minimum, you should reach a level of righteousness where you're not a Rasha. A lot of Gedolim used to say that Aaron Kotler once said that he aimed to be the Vilna Gaon. Of course, it was not realistic, right? But he says, if I wouldn't have aimed to be the Vilna Gaon, I couldn't have been where I was. I couldn't have gotten to where I got. So a person has to always aim to be tzaddik, the purest, the best, and hopefully he'll get there. But otherwise, at least he'll get further than without any ambitions at all. And to continue, every day you should know Shakadosh Baruch Hu Torah. Remember that Hashem is pure. Umesharsav and His servants are tahirim, and your neshama as well. Think highly of yourself. You have a neshama of the highest value. And even chas v'shalom, if you fail, if you falter, remember it doesn't affect the essence of your neshama. You're still pure deep inside. You can just reawaken it and get back on track. Tahiri. If you guard it with purity, if you take care of your neshama properly, great. Otherwise, you can lose out big time. I'm going to take it away from you. Another way to express this, Mashal, a kohen had truma, he gave it to Maretz. Now we know that truma has to be guarded from tumah, and then Maretz needs to be spurred on, needs to be encouraged. He tells him, listen, if you guard it well, amazing, we'll eat it, I'll eat it. But otherwise, I'm going to burn it right in front of you, we're going to lose out. Here's another pasuk that they're mashbiah him on the day of his birth. Micro, the Rebbe is describing his birth. Hashem, you drew me out of my mother. My mashma. What do we find? A reference to a shvur. The haygoizi, lashon goizi, refers to an oath. Lashon dashbuihu. We find gazi nizrech ashlichi. Gazi nizrech. Rashi says nizrech lashon of nazirus, right? The commitment to refrain from wine, to grow the hair long. So it's a type of neder, which is in the like a shvur. So goizi refers to the idea of a shvur, and that happens upon birth. I'll give you another description of the unborn fetus. Like a nut floating in a pail of water, protected from all sides, cushioned by that water. No matter what happens, the nut is always safe and sound. Likewise, a fetus protected from all sides in this cushioned environment. Right? So you walk over to that nut, and you put your finger on it, you push it down, it slides away. Right? It sinks this way, it sinks that way, and it rides the tide and the waves. Likewise, a fetus, he rides through the tides until his birth, when he's faced by the tide. In this case, he turns to Hashem and says, please help me, I don't want to do this alone. And of course Hashem is always standing by his side. That's by the way why they say the baby lets out that, emits that very, very unique that cry, which is unlike a regular cry, and they say it's because of this, he's confronting the world for the first time, leaving that safe cocoon, and being put suddenly in the driver's seat, going 90 miles an hour. Back to that story with the malach, with tap him on the mouth. There's a famous story. I recall there are several stories, at least I recall at least one that I read from reliable sources, that there was a baby born in Eretz Yisrael that just knew everything, knew the whole Torah. And the joke was the malach forgot to slap him, but and the story was that I think he went to one of the big tzaddikim and he did something, and it's not good for ayin hara. People start talking and they become envious. It becomes something that can arouse evil eye and ayin hara and can harm him. So I believe the story was that he was made to forget everything. But it's based on this Gemara that of course a baby knows everything. NIDAH Lamed Aleph. We're just learning for the second time. Okay, so bottom line, the Mapelas has to be concerned about the Zachar, Nekeva, and a NIDAH possibility. We went through the calculations and explained why each element, in fact, plays a factor in her overall calculations. We discussed the Machlekes, how long it takes to form the Zachar, which is 40, and Nekeva was Machlekes. And the Rusimloi gave us a guided tour. Lama, Havla, Doime, Me'imoy, what happens, what he looks like, and the shvua of the tzaddik, which Be'ez Hashem will fulfill to its fullest. It's great to have to Shmaya. Ken Yiratzin. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.